Graduates, congratulations. We are all here for one reason, to honor you and what you just accomplished. You now have a college education. In a few minutes, you will be a person with a college degree. That hard-won education is a treasure you will keep and build on for the rest of your life. You are at one of those thresholds now, a time of transition. The whole world is at a threshold too, a really big one. Humans have gone through several major transitions in their history: the discovery of fire, the development of language, the development of agriculture, the Industrial Revolution. We are living on the threshold of another major turning. Science divides Earth's history into periods based on large-scale changes. So the Pleistocene was the time of ice ages, a time when creatures like mastodons and camels roamed the land that is now Oregon. Then came the Holocene, the time which spanned all of written human history until now. We live at the beginning of a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene, a period in which human activity has become such a powerful force that it has major planet-scale impact on climate and on every living system. Change has always been a feature of life, of course, but at this moment in history, life on Earth is changing at a rate faster than it has in 65 million years. 5 times in the last half billion years, something big happened that drove massive numbers of creatures into extinction. The 5th mass extinction happened 65 million years ago when something, probably an asteroid, wiped out most animals, including dinosaurs. Today, a 6th mass extinction is underway, with species disappearing at 1,000 times the normal rate. This time, the cataclysmic cause is us. We live on a planet that is changing fast. In just the last 50 years, Earth's population has doubled, consumption of water has tripled, the use of fossil fuel has quadrupled, storms and wildfires are growing, mountain glaciers are melting, sea level is rising. The 6th mass extinction is well underway, with 50% of species alive today predicted to be gone by the year 2050. That's the reality. But there's more to the picture. There are signs that you may be graduating from college at the beginning of what will turn out to be an era of transformation to something new and better than before. Can we envision what life on the other side of that transition might be like? We can't know for sure, but it seems likely that nearly every aspect of our current way of living will be transformed to some degree, from where and how we grow our food, to how we transport ourselves and our goods, to how those goods are made. Some jobs may become obsolete, while new kinds of jobs appear. We may become both more connected globally and more self-reliant locally. Those are possibilities. The future is unknowable. What we do know is that all of this, climate, oceans, people, all life, is entering a time of major transition, that it will eventually settle into a new state of equilibrium, and that when it does, Earth will not be the same as it was before. This is the world into which you are stepping. And the personal changes you went through as a student will help you prepare for what comes next. You just did something difficult. Whatever your life situation, whatever your abilities, you had obstacles to overcome. It was hard, and you did it anyway. Now the skills that made you successful in college will allow you to be resilient in the face of change. resilience will be an important skill. Resilience is the capacity of a system to absorb disturbance and still retain its basic function and structure. Like a forest does when a tree blows down, but the forest goes on. In a forest, things change all the time. Wind blows a tree down. It stops being a tree, but on the ground, it goes through a series of transformations, becoming home for thousands of creatures in successions of generations. The tree blows down, a sunny spot opens up, and new kinds of things start growing. Mosaics of different kinds of plants and the animals who live with them are constantly appearing and disappearing, but the forest itself is still a forest. Why is it resilient? Because there are so many different kinds of creatures there, each making its living in its own way. It turns out that diversity is the key to the resilience of systems. Whether we are talking about people or nations or forests, the more diverse a system is and the more variations there are, the better that system will be able to deal with change and stay resilient. Are you different from the people around you? Thank goodness, we need you. Whoever you are, the world needs you. Love you. There are many ways to be. There are many directions in which to work. And like a forest with many creatures making their livings in many different ways, we need them all. What can make you resilient? Research on human resilience tells us that several key qualities help make a person resilient in the face of change. First, learn new things. Learn as much as you can. Keep scanning the horizon for more to learn. Read widely. Listen thoughtfully. Second, recognize your own unique strength. You are not like anyone else. Figure out what it is you care about and do that. And finally, stay positive. Don't ever think your contribution isn't enough to make a difference. We each do what we can in our corner of the world, and with enough of us doing that, it all adds up to something. Don't wait until later when problems grow bigger and harder to fix. Even a small change now could shift the whole trajectory. You can be like a trim tab on the rudder of a ship. A big ship has tremendous momentum going in some direction. If you tried to turn it using the rudder, you'd find it impossible. The trim tab is a small flap on the edge of the main rudder. Turning that little flap on the edge of the main rudder changes the flow just enough to turn the rudder, which then allows the whole ship to turn. Don't give up. Remember how hard you worked to get your degree. Maybe you wanted to give up sometimes, but you didn't. You can use that same determination now to make a difference in the world. We can see indicators that say things are changing fast and it can feel discouraging. We know there is turbulence ahead. We could choose to be pessimistic. But there is another path, action. Each of us in our own diverse way, in our particular corner of the world. The way to move forward through uncertainty is to do, to choose to act from a position of hope based on a positive vision. At the beginning of the Civil Rights era, when Dr. Martin Luther King looked around, he saw evidence of racism everywhere. Its presence was indisputable. It was ugly, and it was deeply embedded. And yet, In the face of this grim reality, his speech was not, "I have a nightmare." His speech was a call to action. "I have a dream." I hope you always have smooth sailing. I hope the wind is always at your back. It probably won't be. A Latin proverb says, "Si quentus non est, remiga." If there is no wind, row. Find a place to stand. Choose what you love. Do what you can. Embrace change and never stop learning. Godspeed and congratulations.